few years ago, I was working in a hospital for kind of a short while. And I remember when I was there was always a phrase that you never wanted to hear, which was, hey, do you remember that patient? Insert the person's name, right? Do you remember, hey, do you remember that patient? Insert name. And the reason why was whenever you heard that phrase, something bad was always going to follow up. There was always a mistake on someone's file. There was an error, something had happened. You never wanted to hear that because there's always something bad was going to be coming down that way. And I've been thinking more about that because within the writing field, it's almost the reverse. Because the process takes so long, you oftentimes will wait 3 months, 6 months, whatever, before you hear back on certain things, on certain submissions for short stories, on submissions to agents. It takes, weeks and months. And so finally, what happens is I think is people tend to forget a lot about their submission. Like it sort of slips your mind. And 3 months later, you'll see something in the inbox and it'll be like, a reply back and you go, oh, hey, yeah, I remember this X magazine, or I remember X agent here. Oh yeah, I submitted to them. Let's see what they said. And obviously, if you have my luck, it's often some sort of rejection. But as I'm obviously, I've talked before basically about how my submission for my other story there was sent off in June, and occasionally, I'll sort of think back and I'll check my email. I'll kind of think back and I'll go, oh wait, yeah, I'm still waiting to hear back on that thing. And I think for most people that are going to be going into the writing field, that's the big thing you need to develop is that sense of patience. It's that sense of, sort of letting your project slip from your mind once you're done with it. So once you're done with your novel there and you send it off to agents, you've queried it, let it slip from your mind. Forget about that project and now focus on the next one. The response, I think the ideal response to any writer when they see a rejection letter or they see an acceptance letter even in their inbox, or they get something in the mail, should be, oh yeah, hey, do you remember this person you sent off your story to? Oh yeah, they got back to me. That's a very healthy response because you're not necessarily obsessing over your prior work. You're already thinking about the next project. You're so invested in sort of improving your craft that you're not even thinking about the thing that you finished. You're now thinking of the next thing. And all you can get at that point is simply a pleasant surprise, right? If the story is picked up, hey, that's an amazing, that's a bit beyond obviously a pleasant surprise, but it's not something that you're stressing out. It's not something that you're putting all your hopes into. If you approach things with that kind of detached mind state of, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Excellent. Okay, I'm glad they got back to me. Let's see what they say. That's a very, very healthy way to respond to it because you're always putting the power back in yourself. You're never giving the other person, you're never giving that agent or that magazine or that publisher the power to kind of control basically your emotions towards your work. You're always keeping it, you're always keeping that sort of stoicism where, hey, if it's a rejection letter, all right, whatever. Well, it was good to hear back from them, I guess. I'm working on this project now, so I wasn't really thinking too much about that one to begin with. And as I'm kind of waiting here, that's sort of been my process here. Obviously, I'm hoping, very excited to eventually hear back, but it's not something where I'm every day, checking my inbox like furiously at like first thing in the morning, whatever, like, oh my God, did they get back to me overnight or something? It's just, hey, every now and then I'll check my inbox and I'll go, oh yeah, I sent off this thing. Oh yeah. And so for those that maybe have sent things off, for those that perhaps have sort of are kind of waiting right now in the query stage of their process, learning to have that attitude, the attitude of, oh yeah, I sent this off to them and now they're back to me. That not caring is seriously, that not caring is it's like a shield of armor. And so I guess to summarize this video here, if you're in that stage right now where you're waiting, just focus on the next project. Keep focusing on your next thing that you're doing, because the next project you work on is usually going to be better, which means to be closer to getting published. So if you do get a rejection, it'll be closer. And you yourself are going to be much more just psychologically, stable, much more psychologically healthy in approaching things with kind of a devil may care attitude, as opposed to always pinning your hopes to this next sort of thing. It's always the next thing. This book needs to get picked up, or my career is over. This book needs to get picked up, or I wasted several years. Pinning your hopes to some sort of outcome that's beyond your control, in a sense, is never something you should do. That's going to be it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a heck of a next couple days. I got to be up I'm doing a very early morning session on Friday, just because I'm going to be traveling for the next couple days after that. And so writing's going to be a little bit more sparse. I'll still be doing that obviously every day, but it's going to be a little bit more sparse. But tomorrow is the video. So next lesson coming up tomorrow.